could we say that members of the coalition leadership have perhaps failed to quote unquote cultivate organizations or friendships that will support them in times of need? Because just now even in this election confusion that we had, even internationally, we found that almost there were no international organizations or friendships that this coalition was able to lean on.
Well, I don't think it's not. I don't think it's not not being able to cultivate friendships, certainly at the international level. I mean, let us put it this way: Barbados has always been a friend, of Guyana.
Of Guyana, but not of the coalition.
But, well, even there again, I mean, I think Ford, in going into the election, I think Ford came to Guyana when the coalition was in power. I think there's a strong link going back to Bonham and Barrow with Ford's party. He didn't win the election. The BLP, for which Miss what's her name, is now the Prime Minister of the BLP. I don't think we had that. I don't think that strength of relationship was with the coalition members. I mean, because I think the BLP had people like Granty Adams, Tom Adams, that guy that came here and died, the former Prime Minister. What was his name? The Barbadian Prime Minister came as part of the election. What's his name? He died.
Yeah, he died. Good riddance. Yeah. Sorry, my.
Yeah. He was a BLP. He was a BLP, and so the strength of the relationship that the PNC particularly had with the Democrats, for which Barrow and so on was not the same as with the BLP that had Henry Ford and all these different people. They didn't have the same. So it's not to me. It's not a question of not cultivating friendships. I think at the level of the international, again, people would look and see who they can get their favors from, and who is whispering in their ears stronger. And my take is that given the question of oil in Guyana, and given who in whose corner, sometimes you got to do like our indigenous brothers. You wet your hand when you don't have a wind gauge. You wet your hand, wet your hand, or put it up in the air and see, and get an idea where the wind is blowing. And you have to determine in the context of survival and so forth whether you will go with the wind or whether you will oppose the wind. Essentially, I think when Miss Motley first came in, she was making some statements and going in some direction that appeared to oppose the wind, and she was heading into very strong headwinds that were having an effect on her economy. When the United States indicated to the World Bank, I think, and the IDB not to lend Barbados certain sums of money that they were looking for because they were in economic difficulty, I think Mayor Motley had to wake up and understand that while progressive politics sounds good and reads well, practical politics, right, are more important than progressive politics. And during the times when Bonham was practicing what we may all call progressive politics in the context of Guyana, and Barrow and so on was in the corner. Barrow also was practicing practical politics because he knows he was an economy dependent heavily on tourism. He knows that was in the United States backyard and so on. So he didn't go as far as Bonham. He didn't go as far as Bonham, and so and similarly in Jamaica, and Bahamas, never even bother about progressive politics. Finland was a progressive politician, but he never went as far as Bonham or as the guy for Morris Bishop and so on. So practical politics is very, very important for survival of a country. And so what Motley and them did in context of the election was to practice what is called practical politics. I'm still your friend, but here, listen, I got the economy to run. And don't be surprised that those people are going to call in their chips. They have a lot of chips stored up to call in. They're watching the accumulation of revenues and so on, and soon they will begin to chant that they need some of our oil resources to assist with their economy. And they will call in chips. So it is important for them to understand where the wind is blowing. The Americans were formerly in the corner of the PPP, and therefore they weren't going to oppose that. Essentially. When you look at and they had every duck line up where that is concerned. You look at the CARICOM report on the elections and so forth. As far as I'm concerned, it was a farce. Bore no relationship to what took place there. And if you want to bring another people who just wanted to observe a count, then we didn't need to go through all that fuss. If you just wanted a count, then so be it. But if you wanted a count that was an audited count, it was a different story. I wish we all would have proficient public servants who, within the space of a couple of days, can write the kind of report that was written by the CARICOM recount team in such a short space of time. I wish we will have that level of proficiency. If we had that level of proficiency in the Caribbean, we will be like Singapore today. Because I won't put it beyond Singaporeans with that proficiency, but in the Caribbean, I don't see it anywhere I go. That you could write that level of report. And in any case, it was as contradictory as they come anyhow.
Maybe you can if the incentives are right.
Well, my friend, all of that is within the tea leaves, is within the lines that what I'm saying, essentially. That the incentives, and that's what I'm saying, all around the ducks were lined up. And it's all about Guyana's oil. And those who didn't participate, those who claim that they pulled out and so on, they pulled out for good reason, because they saw where the tea leaves were saying. They read the tea leaves and what it was saying. They put their hands up and they saw where the winds were blowing. And at that stage, if you gotta cut loose your friend, you have to cut them loose. Otherwise, both of you will sink and drown. And in cutting loose, one has survived and one has drowned. So friendship is only that far. It only goes that far.